Hi, welcome back to In Between. We're going to be starting a new mini series. This one's going to be called On the Red Road. The Red Road series is going to be a remembrance. It is the accumulation of all the journals, all the memories for over the last decade of my life put into this mini series to share with you the intimacy of what is my heart and my spirit. Today's episode, particularly, is going to be named Lightning in My Blood. This one just kind of began not with like a plan. This wasn't planned out. I just felt it one day and I said, you know what? It's time. It's time. Because initially, yes, I wanted to share all those journals and the beginning of, this podcast In Between that I started, but I needed to create some sort of foundation first, right? And now I feel like we can finally just build up. The Red Road is a phrase spoken through many, many, many indigenous circles, but it's not one single teaching. And I want you to remember this as we move through this mini series together. It's a path, it's a way of living. At its heart, at its corazon, at its yolot, at its prime, at its center, the red road is the road you walk. Not the road I walk and you follow, but the road that you walk. To choose to live awake. For me, the red road is an ancestral signal, a beacon, even. A remembering that rises from the bones, the blood, from the places where my lineage still hums beneath my skin. It is the path that called me long before I even knew what this was, before I even had words for it, long before I understood that chronic illness, too, can be a teacher on this road. In this mini series, it's not an attempt to speak for a nation, for a direct tribe of sorts, or a tradition, a particular tradition. This is a direct medicine for my heart that has come through my own lived experience with every heartbeat that has kept me alive. On the Red Road, as per the title, it is the unfolding of the story of how spirit found me, even when I didn't want to be seen. This is how living with illness has humbled me, how the land humbled me, how the ancestors whispered to me just along the way, and how lightning kept me awake, how lightning woke me, how lightning kept me awake this whole time. And this is my offering. This is my remembrance. So, there is a particular journal that called to me a few days ago. I felt called to bring my old journals to this space, to In Between. And not to read them, just cover to cover, right? But to let them choose me. So I just laid them all out. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a little bit more than that. There's a few. There's some that are intentionally for other things, but my life journals, that's about, 8, my bad. 8 journals for almost a decade of life. I laid them out on the bed and I literally did, giving it a chance to see which one was actually going to come out. And so that ended up happening. It's kind of like when you shuffle cards, I guess, or if you're trying, like, you have a really hard time picking something at the store and you do any, meeny, miny, mo. Yeah, that's what I was doing. And the journal that made itself known to me was from mid 2021 to 2022. On the cover, I had written, "Bring the thunder, set the lightning in my veins." That so happened to be the year where I had my lightning initiation from the thunder beams. Now, if you don't know about that, I'm not going to explain that here. I invite you to research that on your own timing. I opened it at random, maybe not so random, but random. I let my finger just kind of flip and choose what page it wanted to land on. And, well, where it ended up landing on felt like a sign I had left for myself years ago. And I suddenly remembered that day. Okay, so this is the journal. That was the page I landed on. This is the title. I'm sure you can't see this because of the effects on the video, but it says, "Bring the thunder, set the lightning in my veins." So from that day, I remember me and Avery were going to go on a walk, right? And it was a cold morning. A cold front had just blew in. And even that in itself felt like a messenger, because when this cold front blew in, it was moving everything around in the neighborhood. I took Avery out for a walk, and when I stepped outside, immediately I was greeted with that lightning bolt backing, paper backing. I don't know what that is, but that's when I just like stopped in my tracks and I looked down and I saw it, and it was just sitting there in the lawn, like as if it was just waiting for me, like as if it was like the ancestors saying, "Hey, look what we left you. We left you another sign." I think it was just funny enough that in that part of my life, in mid 2021 up until I'm gonna say 2023, I had been connecting with the thunder beings and with lightning and with the ancestral electricity that moves through my body. The kind that kind of like just moves through you when your spirit is like just trying to keep you awake, right? When you're sick, you're constantly finding purpose in every day why you're still here. So seeing that bolt on that packaging I just showed you felt like a confirmation, almost like a nod, a whisper that the ancestors or the thunder beings were saying to me, like, you're listening, you're seeing, keep going, keep walking. So I kind of just entertained it and I kept going, right? So it wasn't just one page I chose a second page. Now, meaning by chance, again, we did the whole letting the finger roam to see what page was going to be next. And the next page that my finger landed on was about a particular book. And this is the book. It's called Lightning in My Blood by James Edendry, or Edendry. I devoured this book. I read it within a week and a half to 2 weeks. Now, I don't do that with every book I come across, okay? Meaning it had resonance, it had relativity in it. It's something that my spirit truly connected to. It spoke about particularly the Coyopa, which to the Huchol people is called the blood lightning. It's like the vitality of one's spirit, the spark, the inner voltage that moves through the body, especially when you're aligned with something bigger than yourself. Despite the limitations that your body may present, there was something beyond. This was the purpose. This was the remembering through the lightning. And I remember thinking to myself, yes, like I was just so amped up to this. And the way this book found me was ridiculous. Okay. It literally fell into my lap at a bookstore. I was sitting up against one of the shelves and I was adjusting myself. And it wasn't a big like scoop back towards the shelf, you know? And I was reading a whole other book. And then as soon as I adjusted myself, boop, right in my lap. But yeah, I didn't have the language for it then. But now, about 5 years later, I understand exactly what this meant and why I'm being brought back to the lightning. Okay, so here's the next emphasis along this sharing, this remembrance. This is the thread that connects it all. So here I am in front of you. Obviously, been sharing this so far. Years later, thankfully, okay, because I was never promised the next day. I didn't know how I was even going to get to this place right now where I am. And I'm pulling at seemingly random a prompt, landing on lightning, landing on thunder, on the blood lightning, and realizing this wasn't a random occurrence. This is definitely a return. This is a reminder that the red road isn't always walked forward. Sometimes the red road tends to spiral you in love, of course, right? Because that's anything with ancestral work. It's all through love and remembrance and holding the memory. Yeah, holding the memory. Sometimes it loops back to show you the moment you first said yes to something, to your own awakening. Sometimes the creator says, look again. You missed something the first time. So what this means now, I feel as I sit here with these memories, I feel the same electricity just rising in me. It's not chaotic though, not overwhelming, but alive. The kind of lightning that doesn't strike outward, it's the one that strikes within. It's the sustenance of your vitality. That's what I feel. It's the parts of you that you abandon. You know, it reminds you that your body is not just a vessel, but it's a storm system, a prayer, a conduit. And maybe that's why this journal chose me again, to be seen and to be remembered, to be recognized and spoken with you. Because I feel like this is what I'm supposed to speak about. Before I even begin to talk about ceremonial work, before I even begin to talk about the deeper spiritual practices along this road, this is what needed to humble me for sure. I needed to return to the moment I first felt the spark. The moment I realized that there is lightning in my blood. Like literally, I have to go back to remember the greatness of it. And it's been trying to speak to me for years, and I just been kind of like, It was too intense the first time. You know, I appreciated the initiation, but the first time things were going so backwards in my life because I didn't know how to hold the lightning. And I feel that because the medicine was so strong and very transformative, um, my heart couldn't hold it. And I don't blame anybody but myself for not being grounded and ready. Because again, lightning also needs a conduit. Otherwise, it sparses out, it spreads out, right? Lightning, when it hits the ground, what does it do? It changes the energy of that particular spot. And I felt like everything that I was doing when I was first initiated into the lightning medicine with the thunder beings, I was creating so much chaos and so much reconstruction and so much energetic dispersing that even my body could not handle it. And now, being in the space that I am, I feel like I can walk with intention, with the spark, with lightning flowing at a constant rate without having to affect my health. Okay, so let's relate this back to somebody who is dealing with chronic illness, someone who is recovering from trauma, from surgery, from illness of sorts, going through rehab. You have it. Because remember, this page is about, well, in between in general, is about having a place to be rested. Yes, rest, but don't stay in it. Don't stay in the rest. Don't avoid. Rest assured that this is your place to be and be ready to move forward, right? This is the path along the way, on the road. There's something I want to say here before we just close out everything, too. Something I didn't understand back then, back in 2021, but I understand now. When you live with chronic illness or recovering in whatever way that this resonates to you, people assume that your body is like dimmed, you know, um, or slowed or less alive. They imagine your energy as a candle flickering like in a draft. But that's not the truth. The truth is chronic illness or recovery teaches you a different type of electricity. Okay. Not the kind that cracks on the outside, but it's a kind that burns steady on the inside. It's like your fuel. It's what keeps you going. It's a quiet lightning, a blood lightning. The kind you feel when you wake up in pain, but still choose to move forward and still choose to rise. It's the kind that moves through you when your body says no, but your spirit is whispering, keep going, go, keep going. Not yet. Just keep going, keep going. Don't stop here. Not yet. The kind that hums beneath the skin when you're exhausted, but something in you refuses just to go dark, just to give up. Okay. People think lightning is only just a strike and that's it. And it can be, right? It can be. But lightning can also change that what stays like in the earth. It can change the molecular compounds in the soil long after, even when the storm passes. That's what chronic illness feels like. And that's what recovery feels like. It's a storm that never fully leaves a person, but also a current that never fully dies at the same time. So when I look back at the journal title of that year, Bring the Thunder, said the lightning in my veins, I realized I wasn't writing about power in the way that healthy people would understand. I was writing about like survival at that point, you know, about the voltage it takes to keep going when your body is fighting like its own weather system, about the way spirit speaks, through fatigue, through flare ups, etc. And maybe that's why the thunder beings came to me. Maybe that's why the signs kept showing up. The creator and the great spirit knew something that I didn't, that my body wasn't weak. Okay. Even through the thick of it, my body was not weak. It was electric. Not in the way that the world celebrates, but in the way that the ancestors recognize, in the way that the land understands. This lightning in me, this lightning in you, is sharper, deeper, and more intentional. A lightning that doesn't strike, but it sustains. And that's the full circuit. That's the circle that I've been talking about. Not some sort of inspiration porn, okay? It's not some sort of false positive charge for someone's ego, but it's the truth. You would not be here if you didn't have that current still flowing in you. There's lightning in the bodies of those who are chronically ill, those who are recovering, those who are surviving, who are healing, and that should be honored. It really should be. Now, if you made it this far, I want to thank you for being present, for being here on this first episode of The Red Road. I look forward to sharing the many other facets of my life with you. This is my offering. This is my memory. And I want you to cherish it as much as you can and really feel brave enough to share your medicine, your story. Until next time, rest here, honey.